Well, guys, the 2026 World Cup logo has finally been released, and there is so much controversy surrounding this topic. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this video. Well, guys, if you haven't seen the official logo yourself online, I suggest you go look it up as soon as possible. As you can see to the right, this is just a small mock up of kind of what it looks like. It is a very black and white background with a thick number 26 sitting in behind the World Cup trophy, and then it's got FIFA right underneath the trophy itself. This was released on May 17th, which I believe was last Wednesday. Uh, FIFA's idea behind it was they wanted to express celebrating the game, but also its diversity. And the identity behind the logo was not only its timelessness, but of course the year of the tournament itself being in 2026. And then, of course, having the World Cup trophy there in the middle, which we've seen, and we will get to a later point here in the video. In terms of the official slogan, "We are 26" is what they came up with. Not only is this going to be the biggest tournament we've ever seen, but they wanted to, identify that hopefully that this is the best tournament we've ever seen. And considering the total diversity of all three host countries, and the fact that we're going to be bringing in an extra 16 nations to make it 48, the total inclusion that's going to happen here in 3 years' time, with all of these nations piling in to North America for this competition. They felt like We Are 26 was the best way to go in terms of that regard. As for the logo itself, supposedly from what I read online, it was to resemble and kind of inspired by the 2028 Olympics, which just so happens to be in LA as well. Guys, I'll be totally honest. I'm not sure if it's just FIFA felt like that this was an easy route to go in terms of branding and creating an official logo or what, but I don't see at what point we really need to look or resemble the Olympics whatsoever. Again, the Olympics are great, but for me, the World Cup stands on its own stage. It has its own identity. It should look to go in its own direction. And to be honest, the fact that they, I guess, used, certain committees or agencies or groups to create this idea behind the World Cup logo from, the Olympics coming up in 2028, to me, it really doesn't make sense. But it is what it is, and that's what we've got, and that's what we're going to move forward with, I guess. It does make a little bit more sense, however, I guess, considering the brand unveiling was in Los Angeles last weekend. Significant stars and big names from all three host nations were involved. You can, if you want to see more in terms of video footage, pictures and stuff, I know they've got plenty online and through FIFA's website and whatnot, and some videos and things, etc., that they celebrated that night. And then the day after, they wound up coming out with their own versions of the logo in different colors and schemes for all 16 host cities, which I thought was a little bit better, to be honest. I think that, again, being able to express that identity through each of these host cities and what they have to offer with their uniqueness and the different color schemes, etc., that they involved with that, I thought was pretty cool. I like that kind of being the subtopic of what this was all supposed to be about. But in terms of it, us just taking our main normal logo with this thick 26, the World Cup logo and FIFA right underneath it, and then just adding extra colors to it, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Again, I like the fact that we're allowing these host cities to express and identify themselves in different ways. I think that's great. But I don't think it necessarily means that we needed to follow the exact same routine and the exact same design from our main logo, what everybody's going to see for the next 3 years as we campaign and market this huge event down the road. Now let's get back to talking about the specific logo itself. Again, like we talked about, very black and white, thick font with the World Cup trophy in the center of it, which is totally fine, especially considering the last three editions of this competition, we have seen the World Cup logo be the focal point of the logos between Brazil back in 2014, Russia in 2018, and then, of course, Qatar this past winter in 2022. I thought those three logos were phenomenal. I thought that they really expressed and showed the uniqueness of each of these nations through how they portrayed the World Cup logo with their own identification, and just kind of adding their own touch to it, but still creating that same, element of what everyone's chasing. And it's this beautiful, unbelievable World Cup trophy. And again, nothing to say I don't mean anything negative in terms of that it doesn't look good on this new logo for 2026. For me, it's just the simplicity of the logo itself and the fact that we really couldn't come up with anything more to add to it, especially considering that FIFA has preached from, according to them, to us, especially this last week, about diversity and inclusion and being able to show, again, the uniqueness of all three host nations involved. Which again leads me to another point, the fact that almost every single time this tournament comes around, once this logo is unveiled, what is one of the first things that you see on it? At the very bottom is the name of the country who is hosting. You pretty much always see, I can't remember the last time you didn't see the name of the host country for the World Cup not in the logo itself, but yet all that we see in this is just FIFA with the World Cup logo and then 26 on it. No mention of Canada, United States, or Mexico in it at all. And for me, I really don't think that it shows any of the individuality of each of these countries, despite the fact that, again, FIFA is wanting to claim how they are wanting to show so much diversity and what each of these three countries bring to the table. But yet that's what we're stuck with. And just to revert back to that point earlier on in the video, if you haven't seen the official logo yourself, go out and look for it next chance you get. At the same time, go see if you can find some of the designs online as well that were created. People just putting something together. I think that there's some great designs out there that people have really been able to capture the identity of each of these nations all together in a World Cup logo, and some of them look phenomenal. So if I were you, I'd definitely go out and look for some of those as well and just see what people have been able to put together. But for me, some potential incorporations that they could have added to this logo, first and foremost, were the colors of each of these nations. I think that alone would have at least given some more identity to the logo itself, and maybe not had people such up in arms about just how poorly this logo actually looks. But in terms for Canada, I feel like the maple leaf from their flag would have looked great somewhere on a logo as well. Also the CN Tower, which again is off the stamp that you can see a couple slides back when we were talking about things earlier, which I think would have been a phenomenal touch as well. In terms for the United States, they could have certainly used stars and stripes pretty much anywhere if they had wanted, as well as possibly the Statue of Liberty would have been a good centerpiece somewhere also if they had needed it. And then an eagle. I mean, there's an eagle in Mexico's national flag, as well as the fact that the national bird in the United States is a bald eagle. And then in terms for Mexico, Calaca, which is a skull or skeleton, which is used for, I believe, decoration on Mexico's Day of the Dead festival. I think that would have been a great touch somewhere as well. And of course, last but not least, a sombrero. These are just some ideas that I had thought would have gone together, especially if we would have kind of wanted to continue on that train of building the World Cup logo into the brand and the logo itself, using some sort of identity, considering that, again, we've got all three of these nations hosting this time around rather than just one. But again, FIFA did not want to go that route and instead just decided to use the actual gold physical element of the real World Cup trophy itself in this logo instead. Guys, thanks so much for watching. As always, please let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this 2026 World Cup logo, as well as what you might have incorporated yourself, or if you feel like that you enjoy it and think it looks perfect 100%, let me know that as well. Any sort of input or opinion you have, please let me know down in the comments section. Also, let me know what host city you would love to attend a game in as well. Again, we've got 16 different host cities this time around, which is phenomenal. And of course, they are spread out all over the continent. So please let me know down there as well what you guys are thinking. Guys, again, thanks so much for joining us. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, guys, see you later. Peace out.